Hey guys, how's it going? Welcome to SketchUp Live. Welcome back.
I can't wait to see your modeled version of... Crap. This is going to fall flat because I don't remember his name now.
Whatever it was did not land.
Dang it! What was his name? Come on. His name was Lee Majors. Colt Sievers.
There you go. I got that. The Fallguy.
The Fallguy.
The
It was shows like that in the late 70s, early 80s that made me
who
do
you are
stupid
today.
stuff with my bike.
Oh,
And made me who I am today.
yeah. He was the man. The stunt man.
And also the $6 million man or whatever.
That's right. Different show, but yeah, I just there's something neat about a guy who is a stunt man who also decides to fight crime or solve mysteries. That's respectable.
It's a good way to sort of subsidize your income, right? You're like, well, there's not a lot of money in vigilantism, but I can find a way to make a living just jumping off buildings.
Yeah, well, I'm sure that vigilantism and stuntmanning have some things that they cross over, some shared skill sets there.
I would think so.
Oh, the Fallguy. Oh, Lee Majors. All right, just give it a couple more seconds, guys. We'll get rolling right at noon. Oh, hey, that's now.
Oh my goodness,
we're in.
I'm not really seeing a whole lot here other than we missed you last week from Ashley on Facebook.
Aw.
So, I mean, I'm seeing a lot of stuff, but that one just stood out.
Well, I missed us too. Let's see. All right. Trying something a little different for showing keystrokes and such. We'll see how it works out. Welcome, everybody. Welcome to SketchUp Live. My name is Aaron, and with me in voice is my buddy Jody.
I can assure you I'm also a person.
He is. He's just not here. But yeah, we're here. We're back. We were off last week. We're spending a little more energy and time on our, the other live stream thing, our Wednesday webinars, fireside chats. So it got a little overwhelming. Needed some time to work on some things there. So I appreciate you coming back after a week off. Yeah, there's something I had to throw out first thing before we dive in. We start up anything. I've had a couple of old live streams where people got in there and started commenting, and the comments are usually something like this: slow down, tell me exactly what step you're using, what's your command, what are you typing, and I'm all for that, obviously. I like teaching people in that way, but Fridays are a little more loose. Fridays are kind of where we hang out, have some fun, model some stuff. I will keep the key logger on so you'll see what keys I click, but I probably won't always mention step-by-step exactly what I'm doing because this is not really intended to be a step-by-step everything I click thing. So just wanted to throw that out there because...
A 6-hour show instead of a 2-hour show.
I don't know if I can handle that. That's a lot.
Ashley's husband just threw out a suggestion for a future episode, which I fully endorse, which is Castle Grayskull.
I have always wanted to model Castle Grayskull. I actually have Castle Grayskull in my garage right now. And I've wanted to do that for a long time. So maybe does that count as a landmark building?
It does if you live in, depending on where you live.
So who's tuning in from Eternia? All right. So I don't know that would be a 2 to 3 hour model, but I'm all for doing that at some point. So we threw out a poll to you guys in our forum, and we said, we gave you a couple options of what you thought we should model, and we've done, so Q&A was on there, machine parts, which is kind of a model along step by step. We model something small in high detail, architectural building, landscape, landmark type buildings, and then a sub-D model, so a smooth subdivided model. And at first it looked like, going into the weekend, Jody and I were pretty sure it was going to be an architectural model. We thought we were going to have to find another landmark building, but we came back Monday morning and you guys surprised us because it had switched over by a pretty significant amount to a subdivided model. So we are going to do that.
And whatever that may entail.
So I'm sorry, stuff's coming up here. Barat, I don't know what that laptop is. I would recommend taking that question over to our forum, forums.sketchup.com. Oh, Jody already put a link up to it. Yeah. Oh, hey, great minds. Yeah. What he said.
Sometimes.
I'm a little slower. He's faster. That's a good way to do it. Hey, Dave, how's it going? Hey, I'm sorry, I didn't actually call out everybody. Hey, Karsten, Kai, Andrew, everybody, welcome back. This is going to be a fun one. This is going to be kind of a relaxed, enjoyable one, but it should be kind of a cool model. So we are going to model a Fallguy. So over here, I have a couple pictures.
I posted a link to the fallguys.com website for this game.
Oh, perfect.
Wait, they're tall? Holy cow, I didn't realize they were so tall.
Apparently they're like 8 feet tall. That's
No, they're 6 feet tall.
Or 6 feet. Numbers, words. Oh.
I just want to, there's a little scale there.
Yeah. This big, huge red numbers. Got it. Oy. Yeah, so this is what we want to put together today. This will be a good subdivision model. Actually, this is like perfect, I think. So we're going to model this, and that's all I have to say about that.
Are you going to T-pose him like that, or are you going to try and give him a little?
No, we'll put him in a good pose, I think. That's okay. Maybe we'll model him in that pose, but then we'll move him around a little bit. All right, so with that, I'm going to actually import that. So I'm going to go to Import, go to my desktop, which is covered in files, and grab Fallguy. And I'm just going to put it like that. Big thing. Wow, okay, so I'm curious about this. So if this is about 6 feet, his arms got to be like, so he's got a wingspan of like 9 feet or something like that. That's going to be something.
So when we go climbing, they have something based on your fingertip to fingertip. They call that the ape index.
So wingspan was not the proper term, you're saying?
Yeah. Well, in the climbing world, wingspan is irrelevant. Ape index more important because apes climb.
That,
I guess.
I get the logic there. Okay, so hopping in here, there's a couple extensions I am definitely going to use. The big one is sub-D. So sub-D is a subdivision engine that takes polygonal or quad geometry and smooths it out. So we'll take a look at how exactly that works as we start modeling. The other one is Vertex Tools 2. It's actually a newer version of Vertex Tools. Some of you may have known or seen or used Vertex Tools. TomTom a few months back released Vertex Tools 2. So you should check that out if you have Vertex Tools 1. Vertex Tools 2 is great. I think he released Vertex Tools like 10 years ago. So he's been building up this version 2 for a while, and it has some tools in there that are pretty awesome. And then Quad Face Tools is the other one that I'll be using, which is a free extension, which is basically a set of tools that's intended to help you model or work with, primarily like select and modify quad geometry, tools that aren't native to SketchUp. So those are the three pieces that I will primarily be using today, along with a couple others, and I'll mention those when I hit on them. Okay.
All of these, I'm posting links, but these are all over at evilsoftwareempire.com
Yes.
to learn about them.
Yeah.
They're also then all in the extension warehouse, right?
I believe everything he has is extension warehouse, yeah.
Should be, because he works for us.
Christopher, I know when he released it, existing people could get it for less expensive. I don't know if that's still the case. It'll say on his website, though. Yeah, I got it. Vertex Tools, too. I didn't think he came out with 30 other versions since 2 months ago. All right. So there's a couple ways we could do this. I'm kind of leaning towards right now just modeling this monolithically, one big piece, and then using something like Fredo scale to go in and bend and position these pieces. So I want to try that. I don't know if it's going to work. The good news is the other way to do it would be to model his body as a piece, his arms as separate pieces, and his feet, or I guess you could call this a leg, as a separate piece. But I want to try to do it all as one model. We'll just see how it goes. So I'm going to start this here. Let's go ahead and stand this up. Because that way I can actually model vertically. Okay, so I'm going to start with, I'm going to come grab a polygon. When I model round things like this, I usually use an 8-sided polygon. The reason I go for 8 sides is anything less than 6 sides doesn't seem to pull to an actual circle. Like if you do a 4-sided polygon, it kind of looks like an over-sanded square. It kind of rounds off a little bit, but doesn't get full round. The reason I'd like 8 instead of just working with 6 is with an 8-sided polygon, you can have a flat piece towards the front, the sides, and the back. So let me show you what I mean by that. So when I come in here, I'm going to bump up to 8. And I'm going to draw it on the blue axis like this. And I want to put this about in the middle and just pull that out about his stomach like that. And now I'm going to take that and I'm going to rotate it from the center so that this edge right here is on the green axis. All right, so here, let me push this down, pull it up. All right. So this is what I was talking about. So as I start working on this, I have this flat section that I can use to build a face. I have a flat section over here that I could start pulling arms out of. That's why I like to use an 8-sided polygon. I'm going to back up a couple steps. I'm going to actually scale this up just a teeny bit. I'm going to scale it about the middle. Get it out there like that. All right. And I'm going to push it down to here and pull it up to just under the arms. That's going to be one section. I'm going to hit Option and pull down a second section down to his feet. So that's going to taper. That's going to form his butt. Here I'm going to pull this.
Just make it into a big barrel.
That's not too far off. This is actually a good one to probably, if you're learning about sub-D modeling, this is not a bad place to start. I'm going to pull another one up right here because that's where I'm going to pull the arms out of, right there. And then I'm going to pull a separate one up to about partway up there, and then one more that goes all the way to the top.
Claudia suggested disabling the pre-select option for push-pull in preferences.
Why?
He didn't say. He might have just been barking orders. I don't know. No, he put a question mark, so it was interrogative.
Yeah, you know, the only time I've really messed with that is when working with a tablet. So that's when I have disabled that for pre-select. I usually don't mind it. And I don't know. Some of that stuff, it's hard to tell. Like, do I dislike dealing with that, or have I just gotten used to it? I don't know. All right, so in order to run sub-D, you do have to have everything grouped together. So I'm just going to triple click this, and I'm going to make it into a group. So I have my shortcut key for sub-D and for Vertex Tools mapped So if I hit the U key, it subdivides. If I hit the V key, it brings up Vertex Tools. Both of these shortcut keys are actually on my 3D mouse right here. So this, I know it's really hard to see, it's tiny, but there's a button right here that has the U shortcut on it. So if I hit that, it'll subdivide what's selected. And if I hit the V, that'll bring up Vertex Tools. Vertex Tools 2. All right, let's make an agreement right now. I'm probably just going to say Vertex Tools, but no, anytime I say Vertex Tools, I'm talking about Vertex Tools 2. Which is that's kind of how all of TomTom's stuff is at this point. So there's Cleanup 3, but you just call it Cleanup. Solid Inspector 2, but again, we call it Solid Inspector. So, yeah.
Well, I mean, you don't call it SketchUp 2020 every time you say SketchUp.
That's true.
It's fine. It's fine ignoring the version number.
But but if you go, the reason I pointed out specifically for Vertex Tools is if you go to Extension Warehouse right now, both Vertex Tools and Vertex Tools 2 are up there. So get the new stuff, get the fresh stuff, fresh new hotness. That's the stuff to get. So when I push pull to make a new one, you just hold down the modifier key. On Mac it's Option, on Windows I believe it's Control, and that will, rather than just pulling the existing face, it will actually leave that face and create a new one. So modifier key push pull to create that extra face like I did. All right, when I subdivided, this happened. So I'm going to come in here, I'm going to hide everything else. Sub D automatically broke this because originally this is an 8-sided polygon. Sub D doesn't know what to do with 8 sides, so it did this. In this case, I might actually just leave that. That's not a bad shape to have for my subdivision model. What is bad for my subdivision model is all these faces on the inside. Look at all that mess. I don't like that. That's not going to work. So one of the tools I use a lot when I do subdivision modeling is actually Solid Tools. So when the subdivision engine runs, it pulls each face against the connected faces. So that means if I have a face here, and they connect at an edge, when I hit sub D, they pull like this. If there's another face in there, I need another hand to come up, but if there's another face right here, it's not going to pull right because it's connecting at multiple places. So a good quad model is also a solid model where just the exterior faces exist. So I will run Solid Inspector on my models as I go through here to get rid of things like internal faces. So I'm going to pick this, I'm going to hit Solid Inspector. It's going to tell me I have all those internal faces, so I'm just going to hit Fix. Now, if I go to Tool Palettes and I turn on Quad Face Tools, I know I'm going to lose a little bit of this on the screen behind here, just a couple little teeny, where is it, down there? Nope, down there. A couple little things went behind my camera. No, actually just half a button went behind. Quad Face Tools is a tool set that I'm going to keep open because it makes it easier to modify this geometry and keep quads. Quick note, what is a quad? A quad is a 4-sided piece of geometry. That's all it means. It's a fancy word for a square. That's what the subdivision model requires.
I thought a quad was like where all of the school buildings were when you were in university.
Isn't it a muscle?
What?
Don't you go to the gym and blast your quads every once in a while?
Oh, I do. I mean,
yeah.
You haven't noticed?
I do. I mean, you guys can't see Jody's cam, but basically it's just a picture of his legs. He's proud of those quads.
Open up a pack of
stuff.
buns. That sounds weird.
I'm going to move on. Not going to comment. Just moving forward. All right. So, we got to get this more matching his shape. So this is kind of cool because the nice thing about these Fall Guys is they are symmetrical. They're all the way around. They're just a pear shape. So what that means is I can actually grab these different rings and resize them. I'm going to use Vertex Tools to do this. So I'm going to hit V. And when I do that, see, it actually comes up, it grabs all those pieces and it gives me the widget. So now with the widget selected, I want to scale this. I want to scale all sides together just to make that whole piece just kind of get smaller like that. So I can do that by grabbing any of these handles, and I believe if I hold down Shift, it'll shrink everything in like that. and then I'll just tap U. Oh man, well that was darn near perfect, because I need to come out just a little bit here. So I will, as I do subdivision modeling, I'm toggling or subdivided on and off. I just hit U constantly to see what it looks like. It's really hard to work in the subdivided model. It actually causes problems if you modify geometry in there too much. So I just pop in there and then pop back out as I need to. So I'm just gonna pull this ring out just a teeny bit. Oops, I hit the wrong modifier key. I made a copy of it instead of Shift to uniformly scale. There we go. I'll hit U. All right, that looks good coming up. Now, we get up here, we got to bring this in. So I'm going to hit U again. No, not U. I'm going to Vertex Tools. Stop. Don't hit U. Pull that in. And I'll do the same thing up here. I'll grab this top, U, or I'm not U, Shift, drag it in like that. All right. What? I gave him a hat. Try again. I didn't select all the pieces. There we go. All right, so I'm gonna go grab that, Shift, pull that in, and I'm just gonna pull it in somewhere. I'm gonna see how the subdivision handles that. Subdivide. All right, that's close. We're coming in a little too quick right here, so I'm gonna unsubdivide, grab this whole ring right here, and Shift, stretch that out, hit U again. So this is what I find subdivision modeling to be, is a lot, and maybe there's people out there who understand the engine better and can visualize ahead of time exactly how it's gonna do what it's gonna do. I'm not one of them people, so I tend to subdivide and then move stuff over and over again.
And redivide.
Yeah. Subdivide, undivide, subdivide, undivide. That's me. All right, so one thing I do want to do is I'm going to grab this little point right here. I'm going to pull it up just a touch. Not enough. I don't want to give him a pointy head, but just enough so I get a softer, smoother dome right up here. I'm going to pull it up even a little bit more. And this is a perfect example of what the subdivision engine does, because when I hit U, you can see it drop. So here's, I'm going to move my cursor over where the point is, hit subdivide, and you'll see where that moves down to. See how it drops down a significant amount? That's what it does. So it almost like pulls on all those pieces like that. Not bad. What's happening right here though is we're kind of coming out a little bit. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab this section right here and actually scoot it up. So that's going to force, okay. I don't know what that error message is. It's Vertex Tools gives an error message. I don't know what it is, but I know if I get it, I need to exit Vertex Tools and then come back. Made a liar out of me. Hey, that time it worked. All right. All right, so that looks closer, but now this is a little bit too wide, so I will bring it down just a bit. All right.
Wow.
Nice.
He's like a bean or a pill.
So I'm going to save because I can. Watch this. That's right. That's how I do it.
Oh, look, I can even see in the corner there the keystrokes that you're making.
That's right. We're full service around here. All right, so the question comes up at this point. Couldn't I have just drawn a couple of arcs on the side, drawn a circle, and done a follow me and followed? Absolutely. You could do that. That would give you that same shape. The nice thing about subdivision models is when I do this, so when I undivide and I grab all of this, my model is all in 160 entities. So this is a super, super light model right now. That's every edge, every face, everything in here. So it's very easy, very quick to work with it still. if I had made this a real high poly arc all the way around here and then did a follow me on like a 48 or 126 side circle to make a real nice smooth geometry, I'd be up to like maybe 100,000, a couple 100,000 faces just with the body. So this is nice because I can work in this low poly view. I can hit subdivide and watch, this is the nice thing. So when I click that, so that's one level of subdivisions already 600 entities up from 120. I can change that too because I can come in here and I don't remember where it is. Entity info. I can take that and I can actually increase the level of subdivision to make it even smoother. So one of the things I'll do when I'm modeling something like this is I'll work down at this one subdivision because it's still quick, but then when I go to export it, crank it all the way up to like 4, and that way when I export for rendering or wherever I'm sending this, oh, I just realized that's right behind my head. How about that? That's better. When I export, then I can export that super high geometry model, but I can wait till the very end of working with the model to do it. So I can do things like I can pose him or whatever while he's in low poly mode and then export him in high poly mode. So that's where subdivision comes into play. Really a big time saver for time and energy saver for something like that. Okay, that's enough talking. Gosh, all I ever do is
Quiet
talk.
down.
All right, so got a couple pieces left, obviously. I got to pull out some arms. The arms have hands and fingers on them. I got to pull out some feet, which have
Fingers.
nubs on them.
Feet, fingers. Oh.
They got things. And I got to pull a face in here somehow. So what I'm thinking is, let's do the face. I'm going to do it.
Sure.
All right, so right now I'm going to turn off X-ray because I know I have to put a circle right here. So what I'm kind of thinking is, the way I would probably go about this is something like this. I'll come in and offset this rectangle, and then I will pull this in like that. That was really far pushed in. And right now, this is a polygon. All these squares on the outside are polygons. That's good. This is not a polygon, so I have to break this. I could manually come in here and draw a line on each of these corners, but there's a more elegant way to do that. So this right here is called split donut. It is a simple single button extension, just the way I like them. So it is one of my favorite extensions because it's so simple to use, and it has the word donut in it. I mean,
should we talk about how you like to use the one button mouse for all of your work?
Are you making fun of me?
No. You said you like one button extensions. You should have a one button mouse.
Well, I guess, well, I do. I actually have one over here.
It's there just for, like, is it holding paper down?
No, that's on the streaming machine where I don't actually do any SketchUping. All right. So if I click split donut, all that does is, if I have the right kind of geometry selected, it's going to go in and break those lines for me like that. Super simple. That's an extension from TIG. It is available on SketchUcation plugin store. Good stuff. All right, so that was super simple. Let's see what happens if we subdivide it right now. Okay, it's not there, but it's a step in the direction. Let's take a look at how close that lines up. Well, it's not too, I'm not terribly far off either, so I got to drop it down a little bit, and then I got to make it a little wider. So let's do that. I'm going to unsubdivide, and I'm going to come in here. I'm going to double click on the square on the inside, and then I'm also, whoops, I'm going to also pick these pieces right here. All right, now I'm going to click on Vertex Tools. I'm going to drag that down a little bit so it's more lined up with, and it probably goes without saying, but I'm going to say it anyways because that's what I get paid to do, is say things. at this point, we're really doing more sculpting. This is not precision modeling. This is not machine parts. You guys voted that down. This is more sculpting geometry so it looks like the thing I'm trying to do. So with that rectangle and all the pieces connected to it selected, I'm going to use Vertex Tools to maybe just stretch it out a little bit. I might scale it vertically a little bit. I want to make that circle bigger than the final circle. And I know I'm distorting stuff. See this? I'm making things happen outside of my view, but that's okay right now. As I move that geometry around, once that looks good, I'm going to go ahead and tap subdivide again, see how that looks. Ooh, yeah. I mean, wow, that's a lot closer than I was expecting to be. Cool.
It was accidentally awesome.
I'll take it. I'll take whatever kind of awesome I can get. All right. So one of the things that I'm going to want to use here, you can see when I subdivide it, like I said, it pulls every polygon against every face against another face. So I end up with this kind of like this gradual divot here. There's not a whole lot of super highly detailed images of a Fallguy, but this white face kind of sits inside the rest of his suit. So what I want to have is just kind of have a lip there. So the way I'm going to do that is I'm going to select this line and this line all the way around the opening and crease them. So tell them not to bend. So there's a couple ways to do it. This is only 4 lines, so I could shift select these 4 lines. Or since I have quad face tools, I might be able to come over here and click, is this the one? Select loop. Let's see. There we go. Select loop goes and proceeds around the geometry until it comes back to itself and then selects those lines. I'm going to do the same thing here. I'm going to hold on shift and pick this line and then say select loop.
Is split donut just part of split tools, you think?
It is.
Okay.
That's not letting me do multiple loops. So yeah, I'll manually select that inner loop. All right, so I'm doing both at the same time. What I want to do is I want to crease these lines. Crease is a tool that is in the sub D toolbar. So I'm going to go to view. I'm going to have more tools on my screen than I've had in a long time. Turn on sub D. All right, there's a little tool set right there. And here's crease. I'm going to click on crease. And I'm just going to go all the way up. I'm going to take it to 100% and then hit subdivide and see how that looks. Okay, so yeah, that's way closer to what I was hoping to have. All right, so it needs to be maybe just a little bit bigger, but that is very, very close to what I'm looking for. All right, so I'm gonna,
uncanny.
Almost like I knew what I was doing. I'm going to unsubdivide. I'm going to double click and then click these 4 surfaces again. I'm going to scale that. No, I'm not going to scale that. I'm going to Vertex Tools that. So the reason I don't use standard scale doesn't know what a quad is, and it doesn't know when it's breaking geometry that would cause a problem for the subdivision engine to run. So I want to make sure that I do this with Vertex Tools because Vertex Tools does understand subdivision and won't let me wreck everything. Or, well, it'll try to prevent me. It'll try to make me wreck as little as possible. All right. I'll try that. Oh man, that's pretty close. I really like that.
Yeah, it's supposed to poke out like that.
Yeah, I might be able to smooth that out a little bit.
Kind of looks kind of weird.
So his chin's like coming out. So what I might do, maybe I'll come over here like this, grab that piece right there. I'll make sure I get all the pieces. I want to make sure I have this piece right here. All right, start over. It's like a welder's mask. There we go. So I'll make sure I have those points in there too. And then what I can do is take that and just shift it in a little bit like that. Maybe shift a little bit more. Subdivide. Better, better. So this is what I was saying about how a square doesn't subdivide down real good. See, it's kind of, I can increase my subdivision amount just to see how that works. I'm going to select the group and bump up to maybe 1 or 2 more levels just to see how. Okay, so when I do my final subdivision, that's not bad. I don't dislike that. Let's go all the way up to 4 and see how smooth that is. Okay, I think my face is in too far, so I want to pull it out a little bit. The other thing is, I don't really like this hard edge. I do want to hold on. Maybe the inside one should be hard, and then this outside one should be a little bit softer. So I think I'm going to keep this at 100% on the inside, and then drop this one maybe 60%, and see how that looks. So I'm going to go ahead and drop this, take that all the way back down to 1 subdivision. That's a little snappier. Unsubdivide. I'm going to grab this face right here, and I probably can't push pull anymore because I've come off. Yeah, see if I push pull how I'm leaving a gap right there. So I can't do that because I've distorted that so much with Vertex Tools. What I can do is I can just pull up Vertex Tools and pull this forward, nudge it up a little bit. Something like that. Okay. And now, so that's going to give me, oops, I didn't have it selected. That's better. It's not as deep there. And the other thing I want to do, like I said, I want to soften this transition. So I'm going to grab that, use quad face tools to select the ring. I'm going to go to crease. Whoops, I hit the wrong button. Try that again. Select that. Grab the ring, crease from 100. Let's try it. Like I said, 60, let's see what 60% looks like. I'm going to hit subdivide. If I hit subdivide with it still selected, I can come in and I can click and I can actually change that while I'm in there. I can, but I usually don't. It's a slow process. For whatever reason, changing the crease while you're actually in subdivide, I think it just goes through and it re-subdivides over and over and over again. So it's an ugly process. It's very slow. I'm just gonna, I want to see what that looks like. A little higher subdivision iteration. Let's jump up to 3. That's closer to what I wanted. I like that.
Nice. It looks like an escape pod from a submarine.
Cool. All right, so I'm going to unsubdivide that. And now it looks like some weird welding robot, something like that. I just can't get rid of that image of a welding mask there. Okay. A thing that's happening right now is if you look, if I turn on my hidden geometry, I'm going to see these dashed lines. These lines are hidden smooth lines that allow quads to exist. So not all squares stay in plane. Sometimes squares have to break to accommodate geometry. Quads are what happens. That's how we create the geometry to let it stay as 4 sides so the engine understands how to use them, but at the same time lets us break or manipulate geometry so we're not stuck with like a cube all the time. This is a good thing. What sometimes happens is these quads get different one side from the other. So you can see how this one runs this way and this one runs parallel rather than the opposite. See here they're opposite each other, so it's mirrored left to right. A lot of times this isn't an issue, but sometimes it'll end up making a problem if something like this. So I get a big hard undercut like that. That can subdivide differently from this. In sub-D tools, or I'm sorry, quad face tools, there is this flip triangulation tool to let you come over here and, oh, I got to go into the mesh. Flip triangulation lets you flip that so they are the same. Cool.
Oh yeah, his face is round though. Are you going to make his face round?
You like that?
I mean, rounder than that? I guess I could be round enough.
Oh yeah, I'll increase the
rounditude.
Yeah, our final one we'll bump it all up.
Ah, see, right? So those that are not familiar with sub-D don't know what you can go and mess with that stuff you can change it later.
Oh yes, yeah. So that's what I was saying.
It's-
I'll stick with one level of subdivision for most of my work, but knowing in the back of my head that when I'm ready, I can jump way up high, and
Super rounding
there we
it.
go. There we go. Rounder,
Oh, there you go.
rounder.
Okay.
Yeah, we'll get there. Cool.
I can see now why you wouldn't want to do that. Why you want to do that later than sooner.
You can, yeah. When you have hidden geometry on, you can
bajillion.
exactly.
So I'm curious, if you look at that other machine, what's your CPU usage? What's my CPU usage?
You're staying at 50%. So
Nice.
if you were here 2 weeks ago, I was kind of bummed because we were modeling the ornithopter from Dune, and we got to a point where we basically had geometry roughed in, and I had to call it because my machine had all but ground to a standstill. I still have a problem where if I have a Google Meet window open, it just over time starts using more and more and more of my CPU to the point where on 2 weeks ago, it was using like 300 and something % of my CPU. So it was doing everything just to have the Meet window open. So still haven't found a solution. The workaround, for whatever reason, is to join the Meet meeting in an incognito window. And then for whatever reason, it stays low. So I don't know. That's an update on the stuff I'm dealing with. Good thing I got that new computer.
Yeah, I have to wonder if maybe that's partially why you didn't feel like doing it last week, because you're just sort of
I just can't
a
handle
little
it.
bit fried. I can't even.
Okay, so we're gonna do an arm now, and I'm just gonna model one arm, and then I'm gonna copy that geometry and just plunk it on the other side. One thing that I do a lot of times when I do subdivision models, or really any kind of models with symmetry, is I'll chop it in half, model half of it, and then make a copy and flip that copy. That way I can do one side and it copies of both. I didn't do it in this one because what I didn't want is a seam running right down one of the features I had to model. So putting that cut right down the middle, when you break a model right in the middle, it honors those broken edges, so you don't really know what the middle of that subdivision looks like till after you join them back together. So I didn't really want to do that here. I could, I guess, come in and break it now that I know how this looks, but I'm just gonna model this and then copy and stick it over there. Show you guys how I would go about that. All right, so I'm gonna start by pulling this out a little bit, and then I'm going to Option, pull out another segment, and then Option, pull out another segment, and that's gonna get me his arm. The reason I'm pulling this out in multiple pieces, even though it's just like one long stump, is because I want to make this posable, and it's going to be easier to come in and pose this if I can go like this. Is going to be easier to pose than having one big chunk there, where then I'm basically going to have to always have them in straight arm positions. So this is going to give me a little more control over how I want to like bend his arm and stuff. Okay, so that brings up to the wrist. From the wrist, I'm going to go add one more. Just going to pull through like that, and I'm going to stop right there for right now. I'm going to run Solid Inspector real quick, get rid of all the geometry on the inside. All right, so one thing, this rectangle that I'm pulling out is longer this way. So I have this wide rectangle. I want to take some of that, so I must take pretty much everything from here on down, hit Vertex Tools, and kind of squish that in, try to get closer to a square. Again, I'm sculpting, so an exact square is not really a worry, but something that's closer to a square rather than a rectangle. All right, that looks pretty cool. I'm gonna go ahead and hit Subdivide, see how that looks. Yeah. See, that's what I was talking about, that stump hanging off. Perfect. I should probably save.
That makes me uncomfortable.
I'll put some fingers on it. That'll make it less weird.
I'm not sure how much less weird it'll be, but you know, whatever.
It'll be family friendlier. All right, I'm going to grab this one right here. Again, Vertex Tools to scale it
So Andy was wondering if it wouldn't be better to be using the sub D push pull while you were making those arms. I think.
Yeah, so I did open up my sub D window. So sub D push pull is great because what sub D push pull does is it lets you push pull the geometry, but it always keeps the previous break there without making the new face. So yes, that's actually the way I should have done it. I guess that falls again another creature of bad habit, where I do stuff sometimes even though I shouldn't be doing stuff. Or there's better ways to do it. That's what I should say. There's better ways to do it than what I do. But yeah, let's do that for now.
There's probably worse ways to do it too.
That's true. I know I'm not the worst. So got that feather in my cap. Okay.
Let's call it macaroni.
So I don't have a good image of this hand, so I went and used the Google, and I found this reference image. So you can see that his arms actually flare out as they get to that stubby little mitt thing there. So I do want it to get wider before the fingers, and then I just have a single digit here, here, and here. And then I have the thumb coming out, and it kind of looks like, see, it looks like I got a little break here. So I might actually have two pieces for the thumb, but the fingers are just going to be more nubs on top of nubs. All right, so I'm going to come in here. I'm going to hide everything else. Give me just the hand. Grab this piece right here. Again with Vertex Tools. I'll stretch that a little bit wider. And then for the thumb, I think I'll do the same thing I did before, and I will offset this piece and split that donut. And then I'm going to push pull this out a little bit. I'm going to grab it, use Vertex Tools to scale. I'm going to make it smaller this way, make it smaller this way. Actually, I might just, that might be everything I do. I'll pull it out a little bit more too. So I think what I want to do here actually is grab this loop right here all the way around and pull that out from the hand just a little bit. So I'm going to use quad face tools to select that loop, use Vertex Tools to scoot that loop out, and then grab this tip right here and use Vertex Tools to shrink that down even more. And then maybe scoot it out a little more too. Again, this is where we're into the sculpting phase. All right, next thing I want to do is I want 3 fingers. So I'm going to grab one of these lines, leaving Vertex Tools, that's what that right click was, and I'm going to divide this to 3. I'm going to draw a line straight down from each of those points. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab one and pull it out. And then after I pull it out, I'm going to grab the end. I'm going to use Vertex Tools to scale this like that. And I'm going to, actually I could save some time here because I can delete this and delete this. Grab this geometry right here, move it with the modifier key to here, 2x, and I have fingers. All right, let's hit subdivisions. Well, I'm going to save and hit subdivisions, just see what happens.
Whoa.
Okay, so I had a problem. I don't know if anybody called this out. Nope. This is not a quad. This right here looks like a quad. It's a rectangle, but every place a edge intersects a face, it creates a new edge. So this is actually a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6-sided polygon. So I have to break it. Anytime I let the subdivision engine break geometry, it's going to do the same thing. it's just going to run lines in from every corner to the middle. This is not a good shape to have.
I thought it looked pretty nice.
Well, if you're going for a Spider-Man look, that's good, but if you're trying to organize your geometry, you want fewer sides than that. So I'm going to try this. I'm going to try putting this piece in like this piece in like this. I'm going to check my X-ray. That did create extra faces, so I'm just going to run solid tools to clean those out. All right, and let's go ahead and hit subdivide. All right, I can work with this. So when I look at this picture, you can see a couple things. One is I have some creases here. So at the inside of the thumb and at these fingers right here, I got little creases here. The other thing is these are actually squared off, not full flat squares, but they're kind of square right there. See that? So I want to emulate that. And that's going to be pretty easy to do with crease. So they also, the other thing I'm noticing here is that they do get quite a bit tinier than what I have going on here. So I'm going to grab this, scale this down.
Crease the evil sensei's name in Karate Kid? John Kreese.
Was it? That's a thing I did not know.
I think I knew that. I'm sure somebody playing along at home has recently watched Cobra Kai.
Hey, they just added that to
Netflix.
Netflix, that's right. All right. So I'm going to use just a regular move here to move this vertically and this vertically, just to get a rectangle there. I will sometimes still default back to standard move commands when I do this kind of stuff, if I know I'm not going to mess up existing geometry at all. I can't help it. Again, what, dozen years or so of using commands, it's hard to turn your back on them. This one right here, I'm going to use Vertex Tools. I'm just select that line ahead of time, give the outside of his hand a little bit of that. Grab this guy right here. Vertex Tools to push that up a little bit, give me a little bit of a, man, I gotta talk to that TomTom guy. Help me out with that. All right, I like how this hand is coming along. So the two pieces I want to do real quick, I do want to get a crease across here and across the thumb, and then I want my fingertips to stay kind of square. So let's start with fingertips. I'm going to grab all of those and the tip of the thumb. Oh, I don't actually want to do that in Vertex Tools. I want to do that in regular Select. And I'm going to crease. And again, not 100% because they weren't flat hard. They were kind of rounded. So I might go to like 75%. And let's hit subdivide and see how that looks. Okay, that's close. The other thing that I'm experiencing right now is, so there's two things I'm seeing. One is it's pulling round. See how it's going to round that way? That is, and the more I increase my subdivision on this, the more I'm going to see that. Hold on, let me throw this on a reference layer real quick. So it's pulling to round because I told it to stay flat on the face, but I didn't tell it these other edges around here should stop pulling at it. So what that means is the more I increase that, the rounder those fingertips are going to get. So if I bump that up, so they're staying flat on the end, you can see that, but they're rounding over at the edges. So that's the perfect profile, I think, right there, but this isn't what I want. So how do I get that to stay more square? Well, I'm so glad I asked.
Yeah, it's good that there's somebody in your room that cares.
Ow.
100% of the people in your room care.
Aw, way to come together, guys. if I come in here to the crease command, I can actually grab a point. And when I have that point grabbed, I don't know if 100 is going to work. I'm trying it. When I have a point grabbed, I can actually tell it how much I want that point to crease. So we'll be able to see a difference, hopefully, between this fingertip and this fingertip when I hit U. There we go. All right, and let's, just for fun, not for fun, this is serious work. Let's increase that. Yeah, that's cool. It's a little too harsh, so I do need to back it down from 100%. But you can see the difference and see how that's holding that square point right there versus what's happening over here. So I'm going to go ahead and drop that back down to 1 subdivision. I'm going to unsubdivide it, and I'm going to come back in here and go back into the crease command, grab that and drop it to, I'll go to 75% on that too, just like I did with the other pieces. $75. Can I select multiple? Yes, I can. All right, so drop that.
Cotty posted a little suggested tweak for the hand.
All right.
On the forum.
On the forum.
Sorry about the fingers. On the forum.
I don't think I opened the forum up.
Oh, that's right. We don't use that anymore, right?
Well, I just figured there's not a whole lot of reference photos to have for this one blob. I got lazy. I'm sorry, guys. I got lazy. All right, let's grab this and increase it, and then I will go get a forum window open. Yeah, that's better. That looks closer to what I'm looking for. I think. I don't know. I should probably go back to that reference image because I don't really remember what it looks like. Apparently, I closed it.
Rodrigo was saying a while ago that he was playing a game of this yesterday, but was playing yesterday and never won a match. I've yet to play this game, and the fact that you can not win a match makes me a little less interested in playing it.
Oh, how do you know you're not?
I feel like I got a chance.
There you go. Don't give up before you try. Gotta try.
Well, I mean, I think I'd have to buy the game.
Well, there's that. All right, so I'm going to come in here. I'm going to shift click these 4 points. These 4 points. I'm in the crease command.
Oh, Ashley plays it all the time too. Okay.
I've heard it's a very fun game. Like once you get in there, you just play it more and more. And
it can't be this popular a game and not be fun.
That's
I just
true.
haven't played it yet.
Well, for my intents and purposes, I just thought it looked kind of cool. So, right. So if we,
it reminded me a lot of Splatoon, which I also never played, but always looked intriguing to me. I'm like an old, like old person gamer where I grew up not playing PvP or multiplayer, so I just tend to not get into multiplayer games.
All right. Here's a thing. I downloaded, you guys let me know if anybody out there remembers this, but I downloaded this weekend and played a little bit of Burn Cycle. Anybody remember Burn Cycle?
Remember the name? I mean, it was not one that I ever played. Now I've got to think here. Oh, geez. Whoa. There's so many things that have been called Burn Cycle since the game.
Oh, well.
Apparently
that's
1994 surrealist cyberpunk point-and-click adventure video game.
And
it's a mouthful.
Here's the part that was cool about it. Is it was all like super low resolution video that they put in there. It's so bad and so good at the same time.
It looked like there's some of that cheesy video right there on like the cover art for the game.
Oh yeah, it is so something. it was so fun. Like I remember having an old PC and like actually playing that game.
Ashley thinks the fingers should be shorter, by the by.
Still
As someone
shorter,
who plays
huh?
this game,
Okay.
who plays this game regularly, she has a
Hey,
better
you have just
knowledge
become the
of-
expert. That's
Yeah.
You're now our subject matter expert. And anything that is less than perfect falls squarely on your shoulders. Shorter fingers coming up. Ooh, that was a lucky grab. There we go. All right, Vertex Tools.
Now I'm out here looking to see what the going rate is for this game. My kids told me I don't want to play Fall Guys. I should be playing Among Us anyway.
Maybe that's next week. Actually, I think somebody already suggested that earlier on.
They did. I mean, the guys look the same. It's basically, it's like if you took the Fall Guy and then put a spaceman suit on him.
Oh, he's not far from that anyhow. I think he just has black here instead of white around his face, doesn't he? About it. All right, how's that looking, guys? I mean, let me know. What was that?
Looks too jaggedy. Oh, okay, that looks better. Someone said it earlier. This is you're basically modeling a pink minion.
Hey, that was who did that? Was that Hornox on our forums?
Maybe he's the one that said it. I forgot.
Is he here? I don't like to sub-D model in front of Hornox because he's so much better at it than I am.
I don't remember if I sure wish I could actually search through the chat history. That'd be the bee's knees.
That would really be something. All right. I'm going to go with it. I like it. I like that little blob of a hand. Point the thumb more towards the fingers, but that's nitpicky. Fair enough. Here, we'll go here. Nope, we won't do that. We'll use Vertex Tools as it's intended. I'm liking that. All right, so here's what I'm going to do. To get it on the other side, I'm just going to delete this face. And, oh, wait, hold up. Undo. I want to do this beforehand because I'm copying. If I subdivide right now, this is a little bit too, yeah, let's go turn our reference on. It's not quite that loose. It's a little bit tighter. It pulls in a little bit tighter right here. So I think what I'm going to do is, I know, I made a mistake. Forgive me. All over on my case. I'm going to come in here and I'm going to grab this loop, or I'm not really good at figuring out when it's going to be appropriate to grab a loop and when it's not. I think that was shooting for this. I don't know. It didn't work. So I'm going to grab that. I'm going to crease it. I'm not going to crease this much. I'm going to crease this to maybe like 30, 40. We'll go to 40%.
I think it was somebody famous once said, it's better to have tried and failed than to have never tried at all. Or something like that.
Yeah, I put that saying to the test as often as possible. By failing as often as possible. All right. So if I delete this now, if I come over here and I grab this, including lines, I think that will bring the crease width. Let me check though. Let's grab it. Option copy over here. I'm going to scale to -1. I know, I didn't use flip along. All right, now let's hit sub D and see what happens. All right. He's happening. Cool. So that's an option if you don't want to get into componentizing something and making, two halves. as an option. You can do that. The other thing that I was mentioning this before is these lines can play tricks on your mind a little bit, make things look like geometry is not quite how it is. So there is a tool over here in the sub-D toolbar to basically toggle the line visibility on and off. So you can just take a look at them without that. All right, here's the one thing I'm wondering about right now. After I went ahead and copied that whole thing over. I guess they are all kind of the same length, aren't they? I was wondering if they should be like, you know, more spread out, but that is kind of what they look like. Yeah, it'll work. All right. Let's get some stubby little feet in here. Unsubdivide this. All right. I have not really thought of how to do this part. Let me get rid of that. So if I put two lines like that, oh no, here's what I'm going to do. Put two lines like this. Whoops, that went too long. So that still creates quads. These are two four-sided spaces. And with that, I'm kind of, I don't know. I don't know what I'm thinking. I'm just thinking, that's all.
So, Aaron, I sort of spun off on a little tangent here, but I wanted to mention to you, because I just looked this up. Apparently, Snow Crash is being adapted as a TV series for HBO Max.
Man, HBO Max keeps just, it's coming after my money constantly.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, we should let everybody in on why that matters.
So I was just typing it into a little bit back and forth here with Sebastian. Me and Aaron are both reading it. I read it. This is like my fourth reading and Aaron's first reading. If you haven't read it, it's a great book. Sci-fi novel by Neil Stevenson, who has a license to SketchUp. I've looked it up.
So, you know, credibility.
How close to done are you, Aaron?
Well, I feel like we're doing pretty good right now.
In the book I was talking about.
Oh.
Yeah, no, you're.
I was like, you can see what I can. I don't know what you want me to say. I'm over halfway through. Oops.
All right.
And I will say, I don't know if anybody out there is looking for a good sci-fi, cyberpunk. It's like retro sci-fi. Because when was it written? It was written like
94.
Yeah.
90. So it's after, the original cyberspace book. What was that original one called? By
was that
Gibson.
Neuromancer?
Neuromancer would be the definitive sort of first cyberpunk book, I'd say.
Yeah, I read that as well recently. I did not enjoy that as much.
Yeah, he uses, I mean, they both do this where they make up words and make up concepts. So I'm going to scroll back here because there was a legitimate question here. Marconi is wondering if there's a way to assign default material to base geometry of selected groups. You've got to open your group to do everything, right?
Wait, hold on. There's a lot of words in there. But
let me repeat the question.
Is there a way stages.
To assign default material to base geometry? So basically,
you have
could
one.
Assign a material. Yeah, I think if you go and you just assign front and back face materials, right?
Right. There's only one default material, and that is if I bring up my paint bucket, that's this right here. See how there's a little outline around it? That's my default material right now. I think it's a function of my style.
Yeah, you can edit it in styles.
Yeah, if I go to edit, Go to my faces. This is my default geometry right here, or my default front and back. So I could change that, but it's across the board. It's not a function of a container. That's a good question.
So that'll happen everything you make. That is a good question. It's something that I think most people wouldn't even mess with. Well, looks like we've got them sort of sorted out there. Robbie's visiting and has a bunch of new guy questions, but it looks like they've been answered.
Yeah, this is. I'll say that's one of the things I appreciate about you guys. Talking to all of yous is it's really cool to see a community that comes in and helps with that kind of thing. You know, there are software communities out there who are, generally speaking, very tight-lipped about their processes and about how to learn stuff. So it's awesome that we have a group that will step up and answer questions like that.
Oh, Marconi's got he's elaborated on his question then.
Okie dokie.
Which is, he has 50 parts colored to different colors on base geometry level, and he needs to recolor them. I don't think there's an answer he's going to like there.
Yeah. I have done some stuff that sounds similar to what you're trying to do, and what I have ended up doing is using tags for it, or I put stuff on different tags, because in your tags you can always turn on color by tag, and then you have this single color here where you can flip that on and off. So anytime I've had a bunch of geometry that I wanted to color code, I've always gone there. I don't know if that helps or not.
Christopher Backer has an answer there. He said select by the same material and then repaint the new color.
Yeah, if everything's changing together, that's great. All right, I'm gonna take this bottom of this foot and go to like 90% with it. Get that flat look. Well, I don't know exactly what the foot looks like, but I feel pretty happy with this as a cartoon foot in general. I don't know how they move so quick with such stubby little feet. All right, I'm gonna unsub. You guys can already see too, it's already starting to slow down. The subdivision engine is. As you add more and more geometry and add more and more creases, creases are actually one of the big pieces I see that has that effect. You can see where it's good to work in this geometry. The lower poly is off as long as possible. Right, so I'm gonna grab all of this, copy it over here, get rid of the pieces I don't need. Select all of it.
Christopher, you said you don't know how they run so fast, and Christopher said they fall. Just
what's in the name?
That's their name.
That does make a lot of sense.
And he needs a fatter butt, Ashley said.
Yeah, I see that. Last time I subdivided, I went, he's
more junk. More
That's
junk
right.
in the trunk.
More junk and more trunk. Look at that. He's svelte. Look at you. You string bean. You're too skinny. All right, I'm gonna unsubdivide that, and we're gonna girth him up. All right, I'm gonna come in here. I'm gonna try grabbing all of this and just see what happens. Make sure I grabbed everything I was looking for. Yup. Sorry if that made anybody sick, flipping around like that. I don't need all these layers showing. I'm gonna take that, Vertex Tools again. What do you mean no? Tell me no. my shortcut key refused to run for a second there. All right, try that again. Make sure I got everything I need selected. Yeah. Vertex Tools. There we go. And I want to uniformly just drag this all bigger, so I'm going to hold on Shift, junk it up, hit subdivide. Man. Let's get rid of this. Well, if I didn't know what a Fallguy was beforehand, I probably wouldn't know what it is now, but knowing what a Fallguy looks like I'd say getting pretty close here. I do want to come in and put eyes in. I want to make the eyes part of the geometry too. I don't want to just like paint them on. That seems like a cop-out. So
I think you should get sketchy physics and put them in as googly eyes that just kind of rattle around.
I think you should watch your mouth. That's what I think.
You shut your face.
Watch it. I'm not going to do sketchy physics. All right, moving on. So I'm going to come in.
Also, Ashley said she thinks, so I'd corrected you and said the face needed to be rounder because I was repeating what I thought she was saying, but what she was actually suggesting is the face needs to be domed out a little bit, not flat.
Oh. Huh. We can do that. We can do that.
Good.
All right, so if I just, yeah, let me back up. So if I grab this and I offset it, this is how I make like soft round shapes, or like eyeballs on animals, you know, where they have the like eyes are round. But I don't want to necessarily go in and model a full sphere. What I can do just to give a little bit of roundness is do an offset like this, and again, break that, and then take this piece right here, and with Vertex Tools, scoot it out of plane a little bit like that. See that? So that's real simple geometry, but when I run the subdivision engine, when I hit sub D, that's going to cause those materials to pull against each other. See that? And you get a little bit of a rounded over face there. So again, I'm going to turn off the line so you can actually just see like that. And then again, let's do a test increase of subdivision levels. Oh, that's why it's slowing down so much, because we're working at 3. Come on, man.
What? Man, 3. That's half as much
Heresy.
more than, it's 3 times as much as 1.
That's like 3 times is like Ashley, 1,000,000 times.
Ashley said that is perfect. How often have you achieved perfection?
Including this? Once.
Yeah. Nice.
So that does make it a little bit tougher to put eyes in as geometry, I'll be honest. And here's why. So on a nice flat surface, I can put geometry on the outside, and I can use crease to kind of lock down its location. As soon as I do something like this, you can see how this is going to pull, right? So if I say unsubdivide, if I put a dot here and a dot here, when I subdivide, it pulls it in, so those dots are going to go from being right here to going like this or something. So it makes it a little more difficult. It's not impossible, but it is more difficult. All right, so those dots are probably want to model them like rupees from Legend of Zelda. All right, I don't know how this is going to work out. Disclaimer, we're winging this thing. So I'm going to take this, I'm going to offset this like this. I'm going to put a line like that. Try to make them the same, so I'm watching, actually typing in geometry so they're oh, he looks so like little and dumb and sad. All right, so question is now, how do I take that geometry?
Make it into a 4-sided.
Yeah.
Those are 3-sided now.
So 3 sides are not ideal, but they are acceptable, I've been told by members of the hardcore quad community.
Okay, the hardcore quad community.
That's right.
I didn't
those
realize
guys.
that was a thing.
Oh, they're nuts, man. They're nuts. All right, I don't know if this is gonna work, but I'm gonna just draw it in and hit the button. What's the worst that can? I feel like I should apologize to you and all of you for what just happened. So yeah, I mean, that's
yeah. Well, I would say that probably is about the worst that could happen.
I made a thing happen. Okay. Good news is all hope is not lost. I think we can salvage this a little bit. I'm gonna unsubdivide that as quick as I can. All right, let's hop in here. Some more creasing has to happen. So I'm gonna grab these 4 edges and I'm gonna crank those all the way up. I want to crease those to 100%, because those eyes do look like they sit out on top of the geometry. So I'm gonna try that. I'm gonna hit that, subdivide. Okay, hey. All right, so this is bad. This is not great, but not horrible. There's also some other stuff pulling in weird ways here that I don't like, but I think I can clean that up. All right, so I'm gonna unsubdivide it. I'm gonna work on one eye at a time here, and make sure and grab any geometry on the back. Use Vertex Tools to scoot that over this way a little bit. Roll it so it's closer to being vertical. So that looks okay. We're getting close. That's okay. I don't like this. I don't know what's happening here exactly.
If it had been a quad, I bet it would have all been fine.
I know. I know. And you're not wrong. I can't say you're wrong. And I think that's exactly what's happening. Is I have too much geometry pulling. Is the top looking okay? All right, yeah. So this I can deal with. This is a mess. So let's get this cleaned up down here. Let's see. So keep that one.
Yeah.
And then maybe I will break this bottom piece like this. I don't know how much that helps me. He's a bunny rabbit. All right. All right, so this piece folded over itself. That silliness.
Yeah.
But let me hold on. I mean, I'm not. Just cover up the other half.
Yeah.
I'm not. Stop screaming.
He's poked me in the eye.
I got like cheeks. I made him have cheeks right here. All right. So I'm trying to think.
Just make him cuter.
That's true. He's not ugly. I'm kind of wondering if I can just skip some of this step right here and just drag some of these pieces like all the way out. Like that. 1, 2, 3, 4. So this could actually. All right. Here's how you manually make a quad, in case anybody was ever wondering about this. You can force quad geometry. So this line right here or this line right here, do I actually have the, I don't think I do. Is that it? No. So these lines, to tell it that this 4-sided shape is a quad with a thing between it, what you can do is come in here and you could turn those lines to soft and smooth, but you also have to turn off don't cast shadow, or turn on don't cast shadow. Turn off shadows for that piece. Doing that lets the engine recognize that as a quad. It's a weird little flag to set, but that's exactly what tells it that that is a quad and should, good golly, that should be all considered together. Oh, we're getting close. It's getting there though. I like this. I like the way this is looking.
Yeah, I mean that's a hot mess right there. But otherwise,
Well, I mean, other than being a hot mess, it's looking great.
sure, sure.
Okay. I'm kind of wondering if there's a way to. I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna draw a line right down the middle of his face. Where's my midpoint? There we go. Actually, I can just get rid of all of this. There we go. Get rid of all of this. The odd eye over here. Cool. And now I can grab this. Shift that. This is definitely a spot where maybe breaking it in half into components would have been a quicker way to do this, but we'll get it. We will get it. All right, let's see what that happens, what that does. That's close. So the only part I don't like is I feel like this part comes out too much now, but I can push that back pretty easy. That's really a function of taking that, maybe that too, and using Vertex Tools, just tap it in there. Tap, tap, taparoo. See? That went from horrific to not
Angelic.
so horrific.
Oh.
I'm not going to claim too much there. All right, let's make these eyes a little bit bigger. So it's still doing that thing where it's pulling geometry, but I'm actually kind of modeling to that pull. So I know it's going to pull and yank on that, pull that out that direction. So I'm kind of letting it do that and accounting for it as it happens. I still don't get this bubble right here is a little, feels excessive, and I'm not sure why it's pulling out that hard. Let me check creases. No, nothing weird creasing. Sometimes what will happen, especially as you copy geometry around, is the information for a crease will go from one line to another because you copied wrong or something like that. So stuff will get weird, but I don't see that really happening so much. Let's see, hidden if I got anything weird going on. No, well, yep, there we go. Here's my problem. This is not a quad. Oh. I lied to myself. I'm a liar. All right, so I'm gonna get rid of those two lines. I'm gonna try this. I'm gonna pull this one all the way up to here. Pull this one up to here. And then make that second section I just made into a quad by same thing I did before. Grab these two lines, soften, smooth, no shadow, subdivide. Hey, there we go. Got rid of most of the weirdness. All right, let's look at that. Oh. All right, let's bump him up. Let's increase his smooth moves. Nope, I didn't do it. Waiting for the geometry to update, but I forgot to hit the button.
You'll be waiting for a while if you keep that up.
Yep. All right, so this is something that happens. And this kind of brings up how I did all of this. See, I'm getting this kind of flat forehead here. I'm just getting this like, that is a function of how I decided to model that face because of this flat piece right here. So what I may actually want to do in this case then is I may actually want to come in here and break this geometry so I can have it kind of come up a little bit rather than pull flat between there. It's also going to give me some additional options for how I want to mod that, or how I want to handle that those quads. So what I would probably do, look at my hidden geometry real quick. Nothing's broken along the middle, so I might, I'm going just midpoint to midpoint here to break this. And the nice thing is it should actually give me a rounder head here too. And then maybe I'll bring this back out into quads out here, something like that. Oops. See how this looks. Ah, almost. Like that maybe? And then I can grab even just this line right here. If I use Vertex Tools to pull that out a little bit, that might be enough to round out that head shape. Let's see, subdivide that. That's definitely better already. So let's see though, but one thing, by dividing that more, I think one of the things that I'm going to run into is this is going to kind of hold flat. See how it's not pulling together like it was before, because I added an additional face for it to pull against. So I will have to manually go in and move this piece and this piece further apart so I go back to having that round shape. Again, not a big deal, just something else I gotta, another tick on the list that I gotta take care of there.
If you're gonna try and get this into the game, you gotta make sure it looks right.
That's right. Grab that right there. Vertex Tools.
Marson also thinks that he looks a little too much like an egg and not enough like a Tic Tac.
The
top
eyes.
Of his head's a little
the
too.
eyes do.
No, his. I think top of his head looks. He narrows down. Like if you go look at your source image again, he looks a little more symmetrically Tic Tac-ish.
All right.
Apparently, I have access to this game for free because of my PS Plus membership. I should have already been playing this back in August.
All right. Well, we'll pause the stream. You can go check it out and come back.
All right, I'll be right back.
Okay.
I got to download it, so it might take a minute.
Yeah. It's looking better, but again, putting that extra geometry in there to pull it against, now he's got more of an oval shape rather than a round. So I might, just one more change here would be to come in here, grab that section of his head, use Vertex Tools, drop that down. Yeah, I see what you're saying. It's a little bit too domey right up here.
Yeah.
Fortunately, again, this right here. So if there's one takeaway from sub D versus just modeling a bunch of geometry, it's this ability to drop down to a low poly model, make changes like that. So I'm going to go to Vertex Tools and just bring it out. And
Yeah, there's some really solid, amazing functionality you can add to your SketchUp if you put an extension in there.
yeah, it is pretty cool. I like this. All right, that's 6-foot wingspan he's got going on there. I'm sorry.
Ape index.
Ape index. Dang. I had it and I let it go.
It's fine. It's fine. It's fine.
Just pull that out. And this is honestly, so we've gotten to the point where when I'm doing a model, this is where I spend another 3 to 4 hours just fine tuning and trying to get stuff to be perfect. I don't necessarily want to do that. I want to pose him. So what should we have him doing?
Hands up in the air as he falls down.
Can do. All right, we're going to take a copy of him over here. Let's see. We'll hop in here, grab this. Oop, no, Vertex Tools. Use Vertex Tools. Come on, man. Seriously. Ugh.
Oy vey.
Serious. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. And then because this is why I segmented it, is now I can grab just this section. Same thing, Vertex Tools again. Easier to distort this way. I probably should have twisted it beforehand, but I can grab it like this. And I can...
What are you using to rotate? Is that part of...
All part of Vertex Tools. All right, let's see what happens when I smooth that. That's a good folly hand. I like it.
Wait, so I don't remember. Did you have a puppet extension you used? What was that for?
Yeah, so there is a tool called joint, something joint. Is that right? It just updated recently too. Dang, what was the name of that?
I'm not sure.
Yeah, you could go in and basically add rigging to a SketchUp model to make it so you could position stuff like this. It was very cool. It was an extension inspection, so you can look for that.
Wait, it was a what?
Extension inspection video. So if you look for extension inspections, you'll be able to find it that way. So something else that's cool about subdivision modeling, when you're using Vertex Tools, I should say this is a cool thing about Vertex Tools, is overlapping geometry, stuff like that. It's not going to join together like SketchUp normally would. If you take two pieces in SketchUp and they touch each other, they're stuck there. Vertex Tools, as far as I've seen, I've never been able to do that. So I can cross over geometry and then pull it back out and fix it, no problem. That other foot looked just too plain, just sitting there.
How recent was this video?
I think it was in the last year. Does anybody else remember that extension inspection?
Well,
where
Andy called it out, but
I
don't think he remembered the name.
Yeah, I don't. It wasn't SU Animate. That's an animation tool that I've looked at before, but that wasn't it. It was
TrueBend?
No, that's it. That's a good one too, but that wasn't it. All right, so the arms are too uniform.
Joints. I'm going to call it movable joints.
Yes, that was the one. There we go. Fly, Fall Guy, fly. Fall, Fall Guy, fall.
Really, I mean, flying is just throwing yourself at the ground and missing, so
That's
kind
true.
of the same thing.
All right, the other thing we didn't do, I'm going to unsubdivide this. I'm going to come in here, grab everything. Come in, grab a nice pink color. There we go. Put white on here. Yeah. And then we'll grab a little.
Give him black eyes.
Yes.
Sounds abusive.
In a good way. Happy little black eyes. You just gotta say it like that.
Okay.
Some happy little black eyes in here. Yep, that's right. There you go. And then smooth them out. My Bob Ross is sounding a lot like George Bush. I don't know why that's happening.
Not gonna do it. Not gonna do it. Looks
Right, so
pretty close.
I'm gonna crank him. I'm gonna save first because this is gonna add a lot of geometry. But I'm gonna go for it. I'm gonna go all the way up to 4 iterations. So an iteration is basically breaking every quad into 4 more quads. So it's by a power of 4 how much geometry you're creating when you go from 1 iteration to the next. So if you have a cube that's 6 sides, subdivide it once, 4 times 6, 36. Again, wait, 36? Did I say it wrong? 6, 2, 4, 6. No, that's right, 36. Yeah, so you're multiplying out every time you do that into more and more pieces. Woo! There he is. He's fallen.
Just like that.
So,
boom.
I'll be honest with you. So yeah, here let's look at it. So I bent him and I moved him around, but the base model has the exact same amount of geometry. So the number of polygons here, turn the lines back on, 667 entities. Subdivided to the 4th iteration is more. Let's see.
Nice. Some good mathing going on right there.
Yeah.
See, and people say you can't do organic shapes, but I mean that's pretty close to organic.
We should probably mention, like, organic doesn't necessarily mean it's alive. It just means it's smooth.
Yeah.
Wow. It's taking a while just to select the lines. How many edges do we have in here? Jeez.
Over 1 million?
Possibly, I guess. All right, I'm out of here. I'm backing out. Oh, there we go. 112,000. So more. Yeah. I'm gonna turn it back off. I like this look better. So here's what I learned today too. I don't love the way this came out. It kind of got weird. This is what I was saying. This is where the spots where I would go in and I'd start modifying and moving points around and stuff. I don't like how this got kind of square. If I was actually doing this, I would probably model the eyes separately and just make those pieces that were on the component as opposed to trying to include them. As soon as we included them in the geometry, I lost some of the roundness of this. I lost some of the smoothness of the head, but I mean, overall, for what, an hour and a half model, I kind of like the way it turned out. I'm not upset about that. Oh, quad view. Yeah, so if we come over here, so there's this thing called, is it? That's what you're talking about, Karsten? I can't see it because it's down there. The live mesh analysis. This view will go through and it'll actually check your model to see what is quadded and what is not. This is a function of quad face tools. So it's right off the edge of here. Let's slide this over to this side. You can see it right here at the bottom. So this will go through and color code your model, showing you green is good, green's an actual quad, blue are triangles, so they're acceptable but not ideal. What you want to look for in this view is any place where you have two triangles together connecting to each other side by side that you could turn into a quad. And if you have anything that's called an n-gon is a multi-sided polygon that's not a quad, those will actually be highlighted in red. But this is a good analytical view because this lets you go through and see where you need to clean the model up. So, yeah.
Kari said 6 from the bottom in quad tools, the quad display.
4, 5, 6. I thought he was talking about this view. But this was good to look at too. Gosh, he looks even more like a bunny when he's color coded like that.
Hey.
Oh, for this, yeah. So here's our quad view. So this one actually went through and it hides the diagonal line and actually shows what those quads look like. You get that crease there, it kind of looks like Big Hero 6.
Oh, geez.
Baymax. Yeah, that's heavy. That's a lot of lines. I'm going to turn that off. That's going to draw the diagonal lines too, isn't it? How do I get out? How do I turn it off? There we go.
Undo.
Let me go. That's cool. I honestly never really pushed that button before.
Now look what you've done. You did it
now
on
I can't
live
unpush
TV.
it. That's right. Man, somebody's got to get on me and make sure I stop doing that sort of thing because oh, I made a lot of geometry there. I see a recurring theme. I was actually thinking one of the other things we could have done is we could have made his face a whole separate piece. So I could have actually, with the main body, just created like a sub D hole in there, and then his face could have actually been a whole separate like ball sitting on the inside of his face. That would have been an option too. All right, let's turn this off. Toggle. Now I can't get rid of anything. It's all smoothed out. Well, I guess I have a green Fallguy now.
How about that? And so is his face. And so are his pupils.
Do I have to smooth it now? Did it actually just draw those edges all back on? Unsubdivide, it should go away, right? Granted, this is the unsubdivide process that takes like a minute because I made so many.
Karsten said undo.
I've done so many steps now. Lost it. No, there we go. That worked. Cool. Well, that's a Fallguy, and he's he's falling right behind me. I got to get my sticky back up on the screen. I keep doing stuff behind my head. I just got to mirror him. subdividing. There we go. Do the same thing here. Oh, his color didn't come back. You know, have you guys hit this too? If anybody else out there is using quad face tools, I've had this problem several times before where I get into this view and I can't get back to my original color. You guys see that? It's like right now, if I come in here, not only that, I just lost my edges too. Weird stuff is happening.
So Marconi said, I don't know if he's talking about a different problem he had. He said copy and paste in place selected groups to new documents. In the materials tab, delete all the colors. Oh, I think he's talking about his original problem. Never mind. He didn't have a fix for this.
Yeah, this got weird. Look at this.
And Sebastian said, important to know if you use the live quad checker, it will overwrite your textures.
That was the one.
I guess we all just learned this.
We have
together.
proven. It has been proven. Yeah, I really screwed this guy up right now. So I just used the eraser tool too. So I'm gonna undo a couple times till maybe I get back to. Oops. I hit it a couple times. I don't know if that's why I ended up with this, but yeah, things got weird. Things got real weird.
Am I still at 50%? Maybe this is my fault.
It's climbing. So weird, man. I don't know. Computers, man, they're the worst. All right, but I don't really care about this guy anymore because I got this guy now. Cool. Well, we're going to call it there. That's where we're going to leave it. We're going to leave it right here with this. We made a falling fall guy.
That's impressive. He looks like a twigger.
And somebody said that they do have a little bit of a thing there. That's normal. Cool. Well, there we go. Fallguy and SketchUp.
Just like you always wanted.
That's basically what I've always needed. Oh yeah. That would explain it, Sebastian. Awesome.
So the word view is a misleading.
Yeah, it is. It's actually changing the state of your hidden lines. So don't care for that too much. But we got this. That's important. We got this. So we got to get him with all sky in the grid so we can actually tell he's falling. Awesome. Well, guys, thank you for hanging out with us. Thanks for giving me input and help because I haven't played the game before, so I appreciate you helping me fine-tune my model there. If you're around and have time, speaking of video games and SketchUp, this Wednesday we have Rodrigo Cerci is coming onto the fireside chat, and he's going to talk about how he uses SketchUp with video game asset creation. So, in fact, did you say Rodrigo earlier? Is he on right now? Did you see his name go by?
I saw him much earlier, saying that he had played and couldn't win a game.
That's right.
I don't think I've seen him come in since.
So Rodrigo, I don't know if you're still here or not, but if so, you can wave a little bit and be, that's me. So he's going to show us some of the stuff that he works on, show us his process for creating. He creates these cool low poly models, which are great for video game assets, but also just makes cool looking art. So if you guys are available, swing by on Wednesday. It's not actually on these channels. We actually have to do it on a separate webinar channel. But if you just check out 3dbasecamp.sketchup.com, you'll find it there also. But yeah, join us on Wednesday. It's going to be fun. We're going to be talking about video games some more, and yeah, it'll be cool. It'll be a good time. So awesome. Thank you guys so much for hanging out with us, and we'll talk to you next week.
See you guys.
See ya.